It is said that when Jesus went to the Jordan River, John did not recognize him. And this is true, for it had been many years since the two cousins had seen each other. Jesus waited in line, watching others be baptized, John calling upon the name of God to witness their cleansing. When it was his turn, Jesus walked into the water, but suddenly John stopped, holding his hands up. He wasn't worthy, he said, of baptizing Jesus. It was Jesus who should be baptizing him. The reason for this is simple. John recognized Jesus once he got close enough, and seeing Mary helped too, and since Jesus was the heir of the house of Hasmonaean, John respected his position as the head of the royal family. Be this as it may, Jesus smiled warmly at John and reassured him it should be this way, that he needed to be cleansed like everyone else. Ultimately, John relented, and Jesus, along with his family, was baptized in the Jordan River. After the baptism, Jesus and John spent the rest of the day together, discussing theology, Jesus' travels, and the state of the Jewish people. Jesus did his best to persuade John to see that violent resistance against Roman rule and the Herodian dynasty would not only end in failure, but also his death and the destruction of his movement. John, as one could expect, would not be convinced. He believed his path to be the correct one, and what's more, he thought that Jesus needed to be the symbolic head of the movement. As the heir to the Hasmoneans and the rightful king to many, Jesus could rally thousands to his banner, John insisted, but the Nazarene declined. He was against bloodshed of any sort. By the end of the meeting, the cousins realized they were polar opposites. But John still respected Jesus as the head of the royal family and encouraged him to begin his own ministry. Jesus and his family left the Jordan River and returned to Galilee, where a few days later, Jesus and his mother Mary went up on the Mount of Olives to collect olives, presumably for supper. While carrying out this task, he, contemplating John's words about beginning his own ministry, began to pray softly, "Lord, with mercy." Suddenly, he was surrounded by a bright white light, and within the light were dozens of angels. In the center of this light was the archangel Gabriel. Gabriel stepped forward, presenting Jesus with a scroll. This scroll, the archangel said, was the sign of God, that it was time to begin his mission. And then, just as suddenly as they appeared, the angels were gone. Jesus, overwhelmed by this experience, turned to his mother and told her what had happened. Mary, knowing what Simeon told her so many years ago, wasn't as shocked as her son. She accepted it bravely and said to him, "Son, I've known this day would come the day you were born. Blessed be the name of God." They returned home to Nazareth, and soon thereafter Jesus started his mission.